So some people, I use all of these different methods to drive traffic to the website, and then there's two types of people. There are those people that go, hey, I want to date a little bit first, let's get to know each other first before we jump into bed and start doing business. And then there are other people who go, right, I'm ready to go now, and they'll put their hand up and they pick up the phone and they're ready to go. So depending on, I use a lot of this pre-selling content, and that's why I love cutting up workshops and syndicating them, because it positions the client. By the time they come to me, oftentimes they're already pre-sold. So we get a lot of inbound traffic on phone of people who are ready to go, and I don't have to sell because all the selling is already done in the positioning. So that's why marketing is really key. That's what marketing is all about. It's to almost make that sale process redundant. You have them ready to go by the time they pick up the phone and chat with you. So those two types of people, there's, hey, let's date a little bit, and then there's, hey, I'm ready to go right now. So for both of them, everyone, it's all about building the proof. This is something that I've been banging on about for so long now. This idea that the biggest hurdle people have to overcome when doing business with you is believing what it is that you say is true. Because there's so much crap out there on the internet and there's so much noise, you need to start collecting proof about you delivering results so that people go, he's got so much proof, there's no way that he can be faking it. And again, this takes a little bit of work, but the work up front is really key. I even set up a website, daveraves.com, that lists all of the different testimonials that I've been collecting for however many years. And I collect them, even though I've still got tons, I just keep collecting them because I want to have so much proof that it's just undeniable that I know my shit and I deliver. You need to get yourself published. You need to, be the best example of what you're selling. I talked about that before, eating the dog food. So if you're an SEO person, you probably should try and get some of your websites ranking so you can refer to them. You want to try and see if you can get yourself in industry journals. You want to do whatever you can. So that's really important. Now for the people who are kind of like, hey, I'm not ready to go just yet, and let's date a little bit first, that's where I have this bonding sequence. And the way that I do the bonding sequence is when someone gets to Melbourne SEO services, using all of the content that I syndicate out there, I know what conversation is already going on in their mind, because a lot of the pieces of content that I put out there target specific keywords. So by the time they get to the website, I kind of know the conversation, and most of them are looking for, an SEO solution. So I have a free report when they get there, 4-step SEO method. And it's the way for the people that aren't quite ready to pick up the phone, I can get them into my funnel and start this conversation with them. And then I have a follow-up series, and it goes for a good 3 months, because when you come to the website, it's a little bit like drinking from a fire hose. There's so much content on there, it's hard to know where to focus on and what to actually have a look at. And so what I'll do is I'll drip feed it to them over the course of 3 months. I'll have an email series that goes out to them that says, hey, here's your free report. And then the next one, we created this really cool video, Google versus Yellow Pages. And I say, hey, go watch this video over here. And then I say, what have I got there? Fraud, phonies, and wannabes. And that's when I say, you want to go for someone who's got the proof and the runs on the board. And then I say, let's be friends. So, I get them to join me on social. So I don't do this all at once. I kind of deliver it over a period of time so people build up that trust. It's the dating. It's really important as well. You don't want to have a very canned series though. I also do broadcasts over the top. So I have a weekly email that I send out, broadcasts over the top. So that way, as people are going through that series, it doesn't feel like old. It feels very current and up to date, and it feels like I'm actually emailing them. So that's what I do as part of that bonding series. Then, for the people who are ready to go, I take a moment and pause. For the people who are ready to go, they're the ones that are on the phone. So whether it's me or Jill or one of the other team members, we have this call sheet, and we get people when they actually call into the office, and we'll write down the date, who took the call, what inquiry they asked, and the question that I always ask, and I do it deliberately, the first question we say is, did you find us via referral or some other means, right? So what does that subtly imply? That means we get so many referrals and people are referring to us. That positions us really well. And you know what? Oftentimes they say, no, we found you on Google. We were searching, we were quite particular with the name, Melbourne SEO Services, very keyword rich, so we rank for a whole lot of different variations. But when they call up and they say no SEO, and I go, oh, well, that's a good start then. At least you found us online. And that kind of starts the conversation going. And then, it's a little bit of a process of getting to know them. You want to make sure that you're a bit more of a consultant. Don't sell people crap if they don't need it. You need to have a great product, believe in it, and then make sure that you can deliver on that. That's really important. So SEO's changed now. The cost of SEO has gone up. We don't use a lot of those automated services, and part of the reason is because when you're dealing with a $5,000 client and they're a franchise or they're a national company, a couple of things. One, typically links aren't their problem. Oftentimes they've got loads of links, so you want to look at internal structure, content, adding content. That they benefit more from that. But also, I don't want to get caught out with sending them a whole bunch of crappy backlinks and then burning one of these $5,000 clients. So it's really important that we do almost like at the start, Gillian will pre-qualify them. We've got a series of questions and we want to make sure that we can get them a good ROI. So we say, because our services start at $1,500 a month, we basically say, look, if you're selling a $10 widget, you've got to sell a lot of $10 widgets before you're going to reach break even. Maybe our package isn't right for you. Why don't you go check out some of our home study options instead, and you can try and implement it yourself. So it's that pre-qualifying, and you would be surprised how many people are shocked when I turn them away or Gillian turns them away because we're just not right for you. And that's just such great positioning, and they're bonded to us for life. Then if they come across someone, they'll refer them to us because they know we're going to take care of them. It just pays dividends. Do the right thing and it always lasts. So once we catch the lead and we've qualified them, then they go into Nutshell. Now I'm going to show you some of the different tools we use. It's not important that you have Nutshell as the specific CRM software that you use. You can use anything. As long as you have something in place for each of these different modules. I'm not selling Nutshell because you can use any tool, but you need something to capture the lead so you can continue to market to them. After they've raised their hand and said that they're interested, and we've opened that conversation and we've got them into the loop, you want to keep following up with these guys, especially $5,000 a month clients. Typically, they need to sell the service into the rest of the team. There's usually a few people that it needs to go by. So that ongoing discussion is really important. So I mean, we've just moved to Nutshell recently. We used to use something else, but you can see there we've got some open leads, won and lost. Look, we're converting at about 33%. So we have sort of qualified them to a certain extent. So not everybody's getting in here. So we're probably, when you think about all of the traffic we're getting, we're probably converting less. But of those that actually come through, this is another subtle reminder or something to keep in the back of your mind. You need to know your numbers. So we converted about 33%. Then after that, we need to start the re-education process. A lot of these big companies, they need to have something that they can take to their board to sell the idea of SEO. So this is when, effectively, this is just a sales document. This is what I use as the proposal document. And about 95% of it is all exactly the same for every single client. But it's answering those questions and those objectives, things like, how many backlinks are you going to build me? How many page number ones are you going to get me? How quickly should I see results? And I answer all of those questions up front. And a big sell as well is I let them know we don't have contracts. We're performance-based. I say give it 4 or 5 months, start working with us, and if we're not performing for you, you can let us go. I don't try and lock people in. I want to get them a good positive return on their investment, and that's why we take the time at the start to make sure that we're working with the right clients. And we're now evolving, particularly with these $5,000 clients, to offer more than just SEO. SEO is often how they get introduced to us, but now we're offering more. When they're ready to go, we send them out an invoice. We use Xero.com. If you're not using Xero, I don't even know if it's available in the States. Does anyone use Xero here? No? You can use online in the cloud accounting. I'm sure there's going to be an equivalent here in the States, and it's brilliant. It's Xero. see if it's available. It was one of probably the biggest steps forward for us last financial year, because what it gave us was this visibility inside our business. You basically link up your bank feeds into this software, and then you can reconcile and things like that inside the cloud, and you keep right on top of your accounting. So mid-month, we can kind of see where we're up to. We can see how many sales are coming through. We can see how profitable we are. And we can now, they just integrated with eWay, which means that they can pay via credit card. That's another small lesson as well. These $5,000 clients, I've never had one ask for PayPal. Not one of them. Every single one. They say, you know, can you send us an invoice and we'll pay it on our credit card. So I wouldn't be accepting just PayPal. You can have it as an option, but for the larger clients, either direct deposit or taking the credit card. I think a lot of these bigger companies, they don't necessarily do that. Might be different in the States, but that's what it's like in Australia. Okay, so we've got that first little process, that process of getting the leads, and I talked about all the different ways that I get leads. I get them to the website, I get them to self-select, you know, am I ready to go or do I need a bit of warming? I have that discussion with them. We take them down a little bit further. I send them out a proposal if they need one. Some people though, you don't need to send them a proposal. We used to have this thing when we did the rock and roll clothing music store where we had this process. We said, what's the next logical step that someone needs to take before they make the next step in the buying cycle? So if they pick up a t-shirt, you don't try and take them straight over to the cash register. You get them in the change room first. It's one step closer to getting that cycle complete. And once they try it on, you get them to start imagining what it would be like wearing that t-shirt at the next concert that they go to or something like that. So it's that next step. Now keep in mind though, if someone walks up to you and says, I want to buy this t-shirt, you don't go, wait, we've got to go in the change room first. What you want to do is if they're ready to go, you take them straight up to the cash register and get that money. So now we've got that process. I always get them to pay first. I don't want to be chasing them, so I make sure that they pay right up front, and they're always paying 30 days in advance. And we have, you know, usually we don't have terms. Usually it's 7 days, but sometimes we'll extend it out depending on the client. Then we move into onboarding.